puzzle to intelligence, which they'd chosen to ignore. Or so it seemed. Subsequently, it became apparent to me from further inquiries that they hadn't ignored them, and that a number of VIPs were pulled off that plane, a number of intelligence operatives were pulled off that plane.
The South Africans, particularly Pic Botha, were booked on Flight 103 and changed pretty much at the last hour or so. These South Africans had been warned by Bureau of State Security to change reservations.
The South Africans booked on Flight 103 cancelled just before departure. Along with Pic Botha, General Mallon, the Defense Minister, and General Van Tonder, head of the Secret Service, BOSS, and other senior government officials. Botha, Mallon, and Van Tonder confirmed this change in travel arrangements to British businessman Tiny Rowlands. They tell him the source of the information was of the kind that could not be dismissed. Botha rebooks on the earlier Pan Am 101. General Van Tonder and two other members of BOSS cancelled their trip altogether.
BOSS has close ties to two very important services, to the Israeli service and also to the American, to the Central Intelligence Agency.
Sometimes by going public, you give undue attention to what the terrorist wants to call attention to. But if you want me to say that if we have specific information that a specific flight was going to be specifically targeted and that information had any credibility to it, then I think widespread notices should be given and people should well know that they were putting their lives at risk.
If you count them out, there had been at least 8 warnings to the Western intelligence authorities, whether they were British, American or German. What did they need? A signed confession on a postcard?
I remember that Flora had been told that she'd be unlikely to get a seat on that flight because it was so near Christmas the plane would be full. Now the plane was nothing like full. And Flora bought a ticket just a couple of days before she flew. Now, if that came about because the others who would have filled the plane had been warned, what does that say about the system? It says that the warning was widely known, that a lot of people had heard it, a lot of people acted on it. And it's only the mugs who weren't on the inside of this system that's supposed to protect innocent people who actually climbed on board that plane.
She got on that plane really as a lamb to the slaughter, that she walked up into that aircraft believing, as anyone should, right, that she was going to be safely transported to America.
Neuss muss leben. Others might die, but Neuss must live. There were more than warnings. In Neuss near Frankfurt, before the destruction of Pan Am 103, a bomb-making terrorist cell associated with the Syrian-backed terrorist Ahmed Jibril had been discovered. The good burghers cross over the canal. The motor barge putters through oil splotches past the gantry cranes. Here, only the water is bad. The phone booth, still there at the end of the street. Is there somebody in it? Has someone been warned? Has someone been told to run away? 1 terrorist cell, 2 terrorist cells, 3 terrorist cells. How long before? How long after?
On the 8th of December 1988, the anniversary of the Intifada, units of the Sayeret Golani, the Golani Brigade, the SAS of the Israeli Defense Forces, raided a PFL-PGC base in southern Lebanon, a place called Al-Numia. It was an extensive base, miles of underground tunnels, underground bunkers, one of which was Ahmed Jibril's headquarters in southern Lebanon.
The group you referred to was a clandestine cell of the PFL-PGC, the Ahmed Jibril group, that had been sent to Germany to set up an operation, several operations as a matter of fact, directed against both the Americans and other Western targets. That group had been set up in the aftermath of the American shoot-down of the Iranian Airbus in July 1988.
Bodies float in the Persian Gulf. Iranians on a flight to Mecca, shot out of their Airbus by an American warship.
C'était un crime. Vu du côté iranien, du peuple surtout, c'était un crime. Et d'ailleurs, en réalité aussi, c'était un crime. Chasser un avion par fusée et tuer presque 300 personnes, c'est un crime. Et c'est jamais oublié par le peuple iranien. Parce que, bon, s'il s'agissait d'un autre pays. Alors, il y aurait de poursuites, il y aurait beaucoup de bruit dans le monde, mais concernant cet avion, ils l'ont chassé, après ils se sont félicités, et même ils ont décoré l'officier de 25 bâtiment qui a tiré sur cet avion-là.
After the downing of the Iranian aircraft by the Vincent, everybody expected a revenge. The Iranians had to religiously avenge what had happened. It was clear that they would teach the Americans a lesson that they can do and duplicate what the Americans have done to them. It was only a question of time where an American airline, a courier, it doesn't have to be Panam, specifically Panam, would be downed in retaliation.
Revenge just creates additional problems, doesn't it? I mean, after all, this incident wouldn't have happened if Iran wasn't and hadn't been in the process now for a long time of attacking U.S. and other shipping in the Gulf.
We've put all the ingredients into perspective, and we realize that it has to be a terrorist network that has experience in that matter. Iran would never do it directly. They would pay $10 million to a terrorist network that knew how to go about it, and the contract was out. It was known at the time that there is a contract for $10 million to down an American airline.
The Germans received a very specific warning that Ahmed Jibril's right-hand man, Hafiz Hussein al-Kamoni, and a known bomb maker, Marwan Krizat, were heading for Germany.
Following these contacts between Jibril and the Iranians, a clandestine PFLP-GC cell was set up in Neuss, Germany, and their master bomb maker, one who had developed a lot of improvised explosive devices for Jibril in the past, was also sent to Germany to work on assembling such devices. One of the targets investigators determined in the aftermath of that group's arrest was going to be an American aircraft.